Hi, I'm Helen, and I'm an artist and community activist living in Cambridge, and I'm working towards our continued existence on a just and finite planet. And so I think democracy means that everyone has a voice. I think it's important that that voice isn't just one thing that you check a box in once every 4 years, right? I think um, really participating in democracy means understanding the issues and having an opinion and understanding how decisions are going to impact different groups of people and and being able to listen to other people and to understand to actually understand an issue, right? um, and then to make a decision, right, that is, I don't know, the right thing to do, right? So democracy is making decisions, right, about how the country is run, how the local area is run, how maybe even hyper locally things are done. And then adding up all of those decisions to determine a path for how the area, whatever, is governed. I lived in the United States. I'm Canadian. I lived in the United States for 6 years. And during that time, I was not able to vote in US elections um, due to decisions made by the Canadian Conservative government. I was also not able to vote in Canadian elections. And so I was at that time completely disenfranchised. So when I moved here, I have a British passport. I vote every opportunity I can because I want my perspectives to be reflected in what is happening, what decisions are being made. I suppose in terms of more detail, so I am a founder of the Resilience Web. I continue to work on that project. So what it is a directory of local community groups that are involved in sustainability or social justice or related topics. And it's great as a directory, but it's also, a platform for people to come together. And so we've had many conversations about, okay, what are the problems in Cambridge? What's going well in Cambridge? What's going wrong? And what do we need to do? Right. And so we can have those conversations and, even come up with a bunch of good ideas, but where's the power? So we keep having these conversations and keep going over the same items and nothing happens. And so I think part of what the Resilience Web can do is to be a platform that gathers ideas, right, opinions, as a forum, hosts a forum for people to get that information somehow to the local council. And we're starting to work on this. So there's nothing concrete yet. But I've been talking with Katie Thornborough, and she's really interested in resilience, and I'm obviously really interested in resilience. And so we're going to try to set up a series of seminars to have a panel of experts talk to counselors and the public, and for people to ask questions, and to have that feed into the local plan ultimately. That's really the goal. It's not people voting, but it's people having a voice and uh, and influencing decision making, which maybe is more impactful than just putting an X in the right box every 4 years. A healthy democracy is a place where different ideas, um, different implementations can be understood in terms of who they're going to impact and where the voices of all of those people are heard equally. Right? It's not that people in control of the media have a louder voice, or people with more money have a louder voice, or people with more education have a louder voice, right? Everyone is able to communicate their ideas and have them reflected in decision making, and have these decisions that are being made really be made in the best interest of everyone. Clearly, there are a lot of things that aren't working in our current society, including our electoral system. I say ours. I've lived in 4 different countries, right? No one's is actually working. And I wanted to have more of an impact than just checking a box, right? But not just me, right? I'm not different from anyone else. I want everyone to have more of an impact than just checking a box. And so I think with the resilience web in particular, uh, thinking about climate catastrophe, we started building the resilience web in 2020, and so there was a lot of upheaval in the world, right, and a lot of decisions being made by authorities that were actually not in the best interest of everyone, um, and so that destroyed a lot of my remaining trust in our government. Um, and I wanted to do something that would help connect communities, because I think the way we fix this, everything is through strengthening communities, and by having neighbors talk to each other, and people understand each other, and people make decisions that are good for their communities. Um, and I think it takes this kind of bottom up approach to really understand that, like, a lot of the decision to understand how a lot of the decisions that are being made are not, are serving like a very thin layer of elites. They're not serving future generations, not to mention the current generation. I wanted to do something that would be effective at helping people work together to accomplish their goals. That's really the goal of the resilience web. Like, we're not trying to be like we're trying to be neutral in a way, to say, like, this is a place where people can, groups who are working on similar things, who may not be collaborating, can come together here, and we don't have an agenda beyond, we want you to work together, right? So we kind of want it to be a place where people don't feel like there's, any sort of power imbalance or political tension or that sort of thing. So um, let's say it's neutral ground in a way. The problem is that our democracy reflects the desires of a very thin layer of society, and that is people who have money, people who run the media, um, corporations, and that those desires and wishes are an extremely narrow view of life. And so for so long, things like environmental damage, and in so many ways, right, have been externalized and not considered something that needs to be taken into account by the serious people in the room. And and this is a huge problem. And additional problem, all of that has been sold to us as if it's something good, right? Like the economy is king. This is the only thing that's important, right? Um, and that it's your own fault if you're not succeeding in it. Not to mention all of the structural problems that have contributed to you not succeeding. Never mind that, right? So, I mean, this is the ethos of neoliberalism, which, has destroyed any sense of community we have, any sense of working together, collective power. And it's been very effective in that. And this idea that, we're governed by what, so corporations look at people, but only at people's desires, not really at people, and then manufacture something that they think is going to be purchased by these people. It's in a very twisted way serving the people. It's not actually serving people. It's serving this, this mirrored world reflection of what people actually want. Um, and so that's a problem. And then the government gets lobbied by all of these people who have all the money and then implement policy that reinforces all of these things. And the media then reflects all of that back as if there is no alternative. These are the main problems, right? These are the main fault lines, I think, in our democracy. There's also like a lot of pride and importance attached to voting for your MP, right? But that's packaged as like the only thing you need to do is just pick the right party, vote for the right person, and then you're done. Someone else's problem. So there's all of this stuff is wrapped up in the idea that there's like a class of elites that actually has the power. No one else has the power, which means that only their interests get served. Right? So it's not democracy, right? It's actually oligarchy. I think I realized at some point that my idea of some sort of utopian world um, is actually just sitting in a whole lot of meetings because what I think is healthy democracy is people discussing issues, right? And the best way to do that is to get in a room with people and discuss the issues. I think I'm saying all of this to prefix this with like we haven't actually tried a healthy democracy. So whatever I'm proposing might actually be broken in some other way, which we don't know yet because we haven't tried it. But let's try it because it's going to be better than what we've got now, right? So I want some sort of direct democracy. I want to be able to vote on individual issues, not for politicians. I want my votes to be very local. Um, maybe I go to like an assembly on my street, for my neighborhood, and then what's discussed there is somehow federated and goes up, right? So we'll go to like a more regional meeting and someone will take the ideas and decisions and concerns of the local area to the next council and so on. And what that means is that problems that concern people in an area will be listened to and addressed and hopefully actually fixed. In addition to democracy around political decisions, I would like to see some sort of democracy around resource use. And so, what I mean by this is that people can't just, corporations, right, can't just buy a whole bunch of land and use it for whatever they want. I would like the people in that area to be able to vote, to make a decision, right, to reach consensus or vote or whoever. They do this on how these resources are being used and if what the corporation proposes is a good use of these resources or not. I'd like to see us vastly expand the way we manage our commons and what the commons are. And so we have, small bits of land in Cambridge that are common land and people use them. And this is great. And what if actually most of the land in Cambridge was commons? Or what if we were able to, really decide and understand, have the ability to easily understand what it would mean to, say, use a lot more water from the river, right? And to vote on whether or not we want that to happen or whether we want the limited resources that we have to be distributed in a different way.